I am an American soldier.
I'm a warrior and a member of a team.
I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will always place this first.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I will never leave a fallen comrade.
I am disciplined.
I am disciplined.
Physically and mentally tough.
Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself.
I am an expert and I am a professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the
enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
There's strong, and there's Army Strong. See what it takes at GoArmy.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at raharden.com. That's the World Wide Web at RAHARDIN.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate Formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. 1 free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective on the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View.
All right, this is Jessie. How you doing out there tonight? Boy, oh boy, oh boy. What a day. We've got the Russian spy ship back. We've got a great OIR, Operation Inherent Resolve update. We've got more going on in the South China Sea. We've got all kinds of things. It has been one of those days. That's a very thick stack of show prep that I would have trouble getting through on a normal night. But as my regular listeners know, tonight will be just a tad bit short because I got to get on out of here because I am producing Constitution and Culture after I get off the air. So I need a few minutes to meet with the hosts and get them all lined out, so I gotta cut my show just a couple minutes short one night a week. Now, what I'm going to try and do, and I promise you I will do my darndest, is as soon as I get off the air, I will put together an episode with everything I didn't get to. So, because I know last night I went off on the biggest North Korea, and did I mention North Korea tangent, because they did something they do about once a year. Which was to hold a press conference at the United Nations. So, and like I said, they do about one a year. And I did look, it's usually about this time of year. So this is going to be in tweaking, folks. Definitely in tweaking. Oh, and yes, I'm just being a little bit goofy, and you're just going to have to bear with me tonight because I am running like I have lost my mind. And I'm not sure I haven't. So, also, I don't know if you guys heard anything, saw it, but there was a special episode of Jessie's POV that aired around noon today. I was trying to get it out for 11 o'clock, but I was hopping. And I got it out for noon. So, and I am hanging on out in the chat room over at KLRNRadio.com. So, if you'd like to come on hopping over on the chat room, I am there. All right. I think that takes care of the bulk of the announcements. And yes, I know I've taken up almost 15 minutes of my showtime, which today is less than usual. All right. Rather than starting off with Operation Inherent Resolve, that's usually what we do when we have an OIR update, we are going to start off with Russia, who's at it again. They are at it again. So I don't know what else to say about it, but I can tell you they're at it. Because their spy ship that hadn't been seen in a little while is, guess what? Right back off the East Coast. For the second time in a month, a Russian spy ship has been spotted near the U.S. coastline. This time off the coast of Georgia. Now, for those of you who do not know what is on the coast of Georgia, we have a a U.S. naval submarine base at Kings Bay, and that is right near the Florida-Georgia border. So it is definitely, I'll put it this way, they're definitely not here for the fishing, okay? And let's just leave it at that. I mean, I don't know how else to put this, folks, but they are not here for the fishing. They are here to see what they can learn. So, let's just hope that one of these flies by. A jet goes whizzing by to see what they're looking at. We already kind of know. The ship was docked in Cuba before heading to the United States. Last month, the U.S. Navy spotted the same ship sailing 30 miles off the coast of Connecticut, the farthest north it had ever ventured. Yeah, guess what we have in Connecticut? A submarine base. The U.S. jurisdiction extends 12 nautical miles, or 13.8 miles from the coast. And the ship has stayed 30 miles off the coast, which means it's in international waters. Now, this is just the latest of little squabbles with the Russian military. The encounters were deemed unsafe and unprofessional when Russian planes flew too close to American destroyers. Another defense official said that the Russian aircraft, an armed Su-24 attack jet, flew within 200 yards of the porter at a speed of 500 knots. That's about 570 miles an hour, folks. It was flying 300 feet above the water. The Navy said aircraft did not cross the deck of the porter, but assessed that the Su-24 was carrying out a mock attack on the American ship. Of course, Moscow denies its pilot was at all unsafe. Hey, people. Get a clue, bat? That's not safe flying. And I didn't just take my own word for it. You know I got some military friends. So, I picked up the phone. Actually, I didn't pick up a phone, but I got in touch with one of them and said, "How safe is safe?" And he's like, "Well, it depends on a number of things, but that ain't safe." And I went, "Got it." He didn't have to go into detail, and I would never ask him to divulge anything he didn't want to. I am not that kind of person. So, moving right along. Alright, and yes, the Atlantic Fleet of Ballistic Missiles happens to be at Kings Bay, Georgia. Before we just wanted to wrap that up. We've got a couple notes about the South China Sea. Oh yes, the Chinese. Now, for those of you who live under a rock or are unaware of this, Secretary of State Tillerson is currently on an Asia trip, and he's going to China. And I'm sure both the South China Sea and North Korea will come up on this trip. You'd have to be a goober not to bring it up. China may be building a large port in the disputed Paracel Islands in the South China Sea. The new construction could be taking place as China continues to militarize other areas of the South China Sea, including the disputed Spratly Islands, where Beijing has built military runways and possible missile silos. China confirmed in 2016 it stationed troops on the Paracels, a group of islands also claimed by Taiwan and Vietnam. Beijing currently administers the islands, and according to satellite images from the private firm Planet Labs taken March 6, China may have begun the construction of the harbors on the North Island, north of Woody Island. China recently expanded a runway on Woody Island and may have deployed surface-to-air missiles to assert its military presence in the area. Countries, including the United States, have condemned China's militarization of the South China Sea. U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson once said Chinese activities in international waters must be blocked and is to visit China on March 18th and 19th. Tillerson may raise the issue of militarization in disputed areas and issue a warning to Beijing. But China has remained consistent about building its presence in the maritime region, with expansion indicating a steady pattern of Chinese militarization. China has broken its pledge to halt land reclamation and has already built a 1.9-mile strip on Woody Island. Now, quick rewind for those of you who aren't sure what's going on here. China found a sandbar and brought a dredge out and literally played a real-life world version of Minecraft. They built the islands out of nothing. That's right, nothing, honey. That is exactly what they did. They dredged up dirt out of the ocean and plopped it on top of each other until they had the size and shape they thought they wanted. Well, it turns out they want more, so they're doing more dredging and more Minecrafting and all that good stuff. They are doing more terraforming, folks. All right. The Netherlands is having an election, and the early returns give Dutch Prime Minister Rutte a big lead over far-right Wilders. The Netherlands center-right Prime Minister Mark Rutte roundly saw off a challenge by anti-Islam EU Geert Wilders in an election on Wednesday. Early returns showed a huge relief to other EU governments facing a wave of nationalism. It appears that the VVD, one of the, yes, I said Victor Delta, VVD, will be the biggest party in the Netherlands for the third time in a row. A beaming Rutte told cheering supporters at a post-election party in The Hague, "Tonight we will celebrate a little." Rutte receiving congratulatory messages from Eastern European leaders and spoke with some by telephone. It was also an evening in which the Netherlands, after Brexit, after the American election, said to stop the wrong kind of populism. With nearly 11% of the votes counted, Rutte's VVD party was projected to win 32 of Parliament's 150 seats, down from 41 in the last vote, but ahead of Wilders, who was in third place at 20 seats. The Christian Democrats, CDA, was second with 21 seats at 81% turnout. This was the highest in 30 years. The result has been a relief to mainstream parties across Europe, particularly in France and Germany, where right-wing nationalists hope to make a big impact in elections this year, potentially posing an existential threat to the EU. However, many of the experts and scholars say that the real bellwether, insofar as whether the EU is going to survive, is France. That's the one we gotta watch. The real bellwether election will be Marine Le Pen's quest for the French presidency starting April 23rd. That is where the populist action is, and that is what we should be focusing upon. Rutte got a last-minute boost from a diplomatic row with Turkey, which led him to take a well-timed tough line on a majority Muslim country during an election campaign in which immigration and integration have been key issues. All right. Alright, that's Mosul. I want to make sure I have everything else out of the way before we get to Mosul. I promise I'll get there. Spain discovers a huge cache of weapons. Pardon me, folks. In all my chaos today, I seem to have neglected to take my allergy meds. Spain's national police have seized more than 10,000 firearms and 400 shells and grenades in raids in the northern part of the country. Police say that the arms were destined for gangs and terrorist groups. Firearms included assault rifles, machine guns, pistols, and revolvers. Assisting in the operation, which was conducted in January as part of a crackdown on firearms trafficking, were counter-terrorism police from Madrid, Bilbao, Valencia, and Girona. Police also stumbled upon a workshop near Bilbao set up to manipulate and reactivate decommissioned weapons. Authorities seized about $90,000 worth of weapons. All right. Romania. This is a country that doesn't show up very often. Romania's defense ministry is setting aside funds to purchase 20 additional F-16 fighter aircraft. The ministry's future procurement plans also include 8-wheeled armored personnel carriers and other equipment to support the country's ground forces. Romanian officials have not yet planned where to purchase the aircraft, but are expected to approach the United States for a deal. At this moment, my intention is to purchase what is necessary for the Romanian army, but on the other hand, and according to the government program, what I really want, especially since we have this political commitment of 2%, is to integrate as much as we can the industry in Romania, private or straight owned. In other words, they want to build as much as they can, but they're going to purchase what they have to. Romania's plans coincide with a significant growth in defense spending. The country has been spending $3.8 billion. The country currently has a $3.8 billion defense budget for 2017. The budget equals 2% of the GPD, up from 1.4%. Okay, now this story took place in the U.S., but I'm going to actually set it aside. It's about a Minnesota man who could face war crime charges dating back to World War II. So I'm going to set it aside, and if I have time in the second half of the show, we will get there. Now, before we take our formal commercial break, for those of you who did not hear my interview with John Preston today, here is his promo for his new album. And this man is amazing. He is a combat Marine, a firefighter, and he is using music to help battle PTSD among veterans and first responders. Take a listen.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine Combat Veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
And for those of you who want to hear the song Superman Falls, check out my interview with John Preston today, that aired today on KLRNRadio.com. It is in the show, folks. It's there. All right. As a reminder, you can always catch me on Twitter at Jessie's POV, and I am hanging out in the chat room at KLRNRadio.com. So, if you ever want to say hi to me while I'm live on air, just feel free to pop on by. I will do my best to interact with you while I am going through the news. All right, folks, let's pay them bills so we can get to the second half of the show.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from the critique of the short story through to line edits on full-length novels. We also offer assistance on generating writers' bios for your websites. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-757-2782. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-757-2782. That's 877-757-2782.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
'Cause right. Thank you for hanging in there with me over that commercial break. All right. Now, I do have the last part of the China stuff that I wanted to really quickly cover. And yes, I'm going to be flying. There's not going to be a whole lot of dots connected, because unless they're as obvious and as quick as a kindergarten level will connect the dots, it ain't happening tonight, folks. It just ain't happening. All right. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson will tell his counterparts in China that the U.S. is prepared to increase financial penalties against Chinese companies and banks that do business with North Korea. This is because of the latest round of United Nations sanctions, which, of course, if you heard yesterday's show, North Korea says UN doesn't have that power. Now, I would normally go back to yesterday's audio clip, but I do no longer have it queued up, and we have a lot to go and a short time to get there. South Korea's upcoming presidential election could reshape its relations with North Korea and the United States, with its disgraced former leader ousted from office. South Korea's attention is shifting to a presidential election that could reshape the nation's policy on North Korea and its relationship to the United States. Last week's removal of the country's conservative president, Park Geun-hye, amid a corruption scandal that has upended the political order, could create an opening for liberal parties for the first time in nearly a decade. Recent public opinion polls show that the top two contenders in the May election, at least for now, are from the center-left Democratic Party. Its candidates, in some cases, differ from the conservatives in substance and tone on dealing with the threat of North Korea's advancing nuclear program and South Korea's security relationship with Washington, D.C., which has been its closest ally. American and South Korean ideological labels don't always correlate. In the last decade, the United States, under both Republican and Democratic administrations, has been more aligned with South Korean conservatives than with liberals on North Korean policy. The conservatives generally favor a tougher stance concerning their neighbor, with principled engagement and pressure on the communist regime. The liberals might seek to revive cross-border ties and seek increased engagement with fewer or no preconditions. So, Park may have killed off the conservatives because of her corruption drama. She may have been the nail in the coffin, folks. So, one more South Korea-related story. DNA confirms assassination victim was half-brother of Kim Jong-un. The forensics wing of the hospital Kuala Lumpur, where the body of Kim Jong-nam is being held, Malaysian officials said a DNA sample from one of his two children had been used to confirm his identity. The Malaysian authorities sought on Wednesday to definitively put to rest a nagging question about the brazen assassination of a man in Kuala Lumpur's international airport last month. They said he was indeed Kim Jong-nam, estranged half-brother of Kim Jong-un, the North Korea's leader, because they had DNA confirmation from a relative. The police compared DNA of Mr. Kim with a sample provided by one of his children. I once again confirm that the body is that of Kim Jong-nam, contradicting the official North Korean position, which insists that the man killed February 13th was named Kim Chol. Mr. Kim was assaulted by two women who approached him and smeared his face with a liquid that autopsy tests showed was VX, a banned chemical weapon. And Host Kitty wanted to get his comment in on the use of VX. Gotta let the cat have a say once in a while here, folks. For weeks, Malaysia has said it determined Mr. Kim's identity using methods other than DNA testing, but has not revealed what they were. The New Straits Times cited unidentified Malaysian officials said investigators had used a pattern of moles on the man's face and a distinctive tattoo to confirm his identity. Malaysian officials said that Mr. Kim's body had been embalmed and his family would be given several weeks to claim it. In February, North Korea sent a former United Nations ambassador to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia's capital, to claim the body, but authorities would not release it, saying at the time they needed DNA to confirm the victims' identities. Relations between Malaysia and North Korea have deteriorated since the assassination. Each has expelled the other's ambassador and barred each other's nationals from leaving. So, let's hope that that's getting near the end of that. Because, no offense, I don't think people should be barred from leaving a country they don't want to be in. If they don't live there. And if they do live there, I'll help. And especially if it's this country, I'll help you pack. So, we are going to do our Operation Inherent Resolve update. We are going to start in Syria and work our way to Mosul.
Syrian Democratic Forces and their Syrian Arab coalition continue operations to isolate Raqqa along two axes east of the city. Our partners have rolled back ISIS territorial gains to the east, north, and west of the city, capturing more than 7,400 square kilometers of territory. To support our partners' operations, the coalition has conducted airstrikes which have destroyed more than 130 enemy armored and soft-skinned vehicles, 57 vehicle-borne improvised explosive devices, and more than 450 enemy fighting positions, enabling the momentum of the campaign to continue.
All right, so they are making progress, kids. They are making progress. This one will interest everyone. Why do we have Marines in Syria? And I'm not talking special forces. Let's take a listen.
As you know, the coalition leaders have continued to bring in capabilities on a temporary basis to meet specific objectives. A recent example of this was the deployment of the Marines to provide all-weather fire support. This was a capability designed to accelerate the campaign and the momentum of our partners who are isolating territory that's been under ISIS control for more than 2 years.
So, the Marines were brought in to help with fire control. Translation, that does not mean they are putting out fires. They are laying down suppressive fire and cover fire and keeping people in their places that are shooting at them and taking them out. All right, let's take a look at Manbij.
In addition, as you've seen on social media...
Let's start that over. I was talking over it. This is Manbij.
In addition, as you've seen on social media, a small coalition force continues its actions started around Manbij on August 13th, 2016, when the city was liberated. Since that time, coalition forces have continued to train, advise, assist, and accompany Manbij Military Council forces as they provide security to the people of Manbij and restore local governance and public works to the city. Coalition forces being present in the area improves transparency and facilitates communication among all parties in the area.
All right, so things are getting better in Manbij. Now, what about West Mosul? Isn't that the big question everybody wants to know? Well, I got some audio about West Mosul. So let's take a listen.
The counterattack to liberate West Mosul from ISIS control is on its 25th day, with Iraqi Counterterrorism Service and Emergency Response Division and federal police operating in the dense urban terrain in the city, while to the west of the city, the 9th Iraqi Army Division continued clearing in the vicinity of Badush and continued clearing the main route out of Mosul toward Tel Afar.
All right, so they are making... Now the route out to Tel Afar would be the escape route towards Syria. And they want to block that off as best they can, because no offense, these guys...
The enemy is completely surrounded in West Mosul, and those who do not surrender to the Iraqi security forces will be killed there.
They want to make sure they surrender or die, because if they are left alive, we'll probably be fighting them again. All right, I got one more audio clip for you.
East of the Tigris, on the northern part of the city, the 16th Iraqi Army Division retained their control of a major water treatment plant and cleared along the Tigris River. Despite spotty weather conditions, the coalition has conducted 9 strikes to support Mosul operations, with 64 engagements and 130 munitions dropped in the last 24 hours. These destroyed 11 ISIS fighting positions, a number of tactical units, including a sniper, 2 vehicle-borne improvised explosive devices, and an ISIS headquarters, among other targets.
All right, so a lot of this was going on in West Mosul. Oh yeah. All right, folks. We're going to do a couple little things before we get out of here. I have queued up a little sample, just the chorus, of When Superman Falls. And that's what we're going to go out to tonight. So, again, I'm going to play the John Preston promo, and then we are going to make our way on out of here to Superman Falls instead of my usual music.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine Combat Veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
And for those of you who aren't sure how this works, day one sales have a big influence on where you land on the charts. So, on that note, folks, I'm out of here. And here is the chorus to Superman Falls. And if you'd like to check out the whole song, check out my interview with John Preston that aired earlier today, March 15th, on KLRNRadio.com, or you can hop on over to iTunes or Google Play or podcast.com, all kinds of places you can find me. All right, let's take a listen. And I'm out of here tonight, folks. I'm just right on out of here.
Everything